All right,
Yeah, move on.
we're moving on to the Raiders. Shout out to
Raiders.
AC in the chat. Big Raiders fan. But let's get it started here with cap or no cap. Start off with wide receiver Henry Ruggs. Cap or no cap, Henry Ruggs has a few huge games this year, making him a top 40 wide receiver and a flex option every week.
Biggest cap of all time. The biggest cap of all time. This is the
He
worst
only
one
had
ever.
43 targets last year.
He had 26 catches. He was the first receiver taken from the draft, and he had 26 catches.
That is absurd.
26.
They wanted him to be like Tyreek Hill, and he's just.
Plus, they added John Brown and Willie Snead, and they have Darren Waller.
Darren Waller.
He's
Like,
so
he
irrelevant.
carries that
It's insane.
offense.
In
So
his
irrelevant.
defense, Nelson Aguilar was cooking at the end of the year. You know he was.
He did have
He
Aguilar.
was
He
solid.
did have Aguilar.
but he has a
Do
chance
not-
now.
Do not own Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, do not.
Please do not roster him. It's a waste.
He's worth like a late round flyer, like the latest round flyer, in my opinion.
Rather
But
own a Henry
honestly,
Ruggs.
maybe
Last
in,
pick of the
I don't
draft.
think he would be the one I would even want on this team as a
in
wide
a
receiver.
16-team league.
I
3
love
wide
it.
receiver league.
Still reach.
I think he
Still
still
a
could
reach.
have a couple big games, but definitely cap. I don't think he gets into the top 40, and I don't think he's going to be a flex option. So, yeah, cap. I agree with you guys.
Big
Next one
cap.
here. Derek Carr is being slept on at his ADP of QB 24.
No,
Okay.
he's garbage.
No cap.
No cap.
Q,
I mean-
what quarterback did he finish last year? What number?
Was he like top 10?
He was number 14.
Uh,
He had
he's
3
being
straight
slept on.
4,000-yard years, dude.
I don't understand. Well, I guess because Waller, but like I don't understand how he's producing. Yeah, I mean they're
Nah,
not
he was
doing much.
4,000 yards is good, dude. 3 years
He's
in
had
a row.
he's
he's had
nuts.
just over 4,000 yards each of the last 3 years, but last year he had 27 passing touchdowns. But the seasons before that, where he was struggling, he had 21 and 19. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, that many. He doesn't make that many mistakes. But that was his best season last year since 2016. So
He's a good quarterback.
Right,
I think
all that
he- I
base
think
there.
He got
I think 24 is too low. I agree.
Way
I
too
think
low.
he should be probably around like 18, 17. Honestly, my ranks probably don't say that.
definitely top
but
20.
I think he should be. I think he will finish top 20. I
I'm
just don't think he's
22.
Easily finishing top 20. That's not even a question.
I just don't think he's that sexy of a pick. And that's
He's
why his
not.
ADP is
He's
so low.
definitely not.
No
I
one wants
wouldn't
to
draft
go
him.
out of their way to be like, yo, let me get Derek Carr. It's
Too
like,
much
I'd rather
mascara.
take a risk on Justin Fields or
I'll take
Jameis
Derek Carr
Winston.
back up.
But yeah, I think he's more of a two QB league guy. I'm still not taking him anywhere near my starting QB. All right. Last cap or no cap. Darren Waller should be considered tight end 2 over Kittle after last season. Cap?
No
or
cap.
No cap. No cap at all.
That is cap.
Y'all
I-
must have forgot who Kittle was. That
I
man
like
is
Kittle a
an
lot.
animal.
Kittle
He's
was
a-
banged up last year and still averaged, I think, like 1 point per game less
Darren-
than him or something.
Darren Waller had 107 receptions last year. 107.
Trust me.
You
I
want to know what Kittle's
I
career
don't want to
high
talk
is?
about Darren Waller.
You guys
again.
want to know what Kittle's career high reception is?
What?
88.
Yeah, but Kittle's a
Well,
yardage guy.
Okay.
It
Kittle's
helps
big
a lot
play
when
guy.
your quarterback's only throwing to you.
Okay. All right.
Well, I think if Garoppolo's the quarterback for the whole season, Kittle will stay number 2. But I have no confidence in him doing that. Plus, they might switch over to Trey Lance, so I think that's just going to help Waller stay. I think Waller will be number 2.
Thank you.
I respect it. I think it's going to be close. Obviously, it's kind of like we're splitting hairs here. They're both obviously elite tight
Yeah.
ends, but I think I like Kittle a little bit more, just for the upside of like the big play. Darren Waller also had 2 insane games last year, both against me in my main league, which really helped pad his stats. He did have a couple of down games here and there, but he was pretty consistent overall. So Darren Waller's good. George Kittle's good. We're splitting hairs, but I'm taking the slight edge to Kittle. So I'm saying cap.
All right.
You're going to regret it.
Might regret it. We'll see.
No
right.
regrets.
Let's get into some questions for the Raiders. Who is the better running back to draft? Josh Jacobs, currently being drafted at RB20, 37th overall, or Kenyon Drake, currently being drafted at RB36, 91st overall.
I hate both of these guys. I like Drake more. I have Jacobs ranked higher just because he'll probably start out the starter, being the guy known on the veteran on the team. But Drake definitely has the upside, being the pass catcher, and I don't know. I just like Jacobs going forward, even though I have I have Drake. I like Drake going forward, even though I have Jacobs ranked higher, just because it's the preseason.
I like
I-
Kenyon Drake's value of where he's being drafted right now.
Definitely.
91st overall. I'd rather draft Drake, but I'd rather have Josh Jacobs. If that
You
makes
don't
sense.
want Cardinals Drake.
Do
don't
you
want
think
Cardinals.
there's a chance that Kenyon Drake could take over that starting job at all?
I don't think he would take it over, but I do think it could become a 50-50 timeshare, kind of like a hot hand situation like the Buccaneers last year with Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette. Kind of whoever was getting the work could do it. I do think Kenyon Drake's the better pass catcher of the two. Josh Jacobs has never really been a great pass catcher. I know they wanted to get him more involved last year, and I don't think they did very well.
Not at all.
So I think I prefer Drake in terms of like pass catching and value, but I do still have Josh Jacobs a little bit higher. But I don't think I'm going to get any shares of Josh Jacobs at 37th overall. I have him ranked like RB 25, like 50 overall. So
He had those 3 touchdowns week 1 last year, and I guess we were all on the hype train, or at least it was like hopeful for him to continue, and then plateaued insanely.
yeah, they paid Drake a lot of money to go there. I think they're going to have to get him involved and have a pretty big role.
Jacobs
So
won.
and that kind of shoots to my second question from the Truth Serum FF on Instagram. Answered our poll and said, how big of a role do you see Drake having? I think at the peak, he could be like a 50-50 timeshare. I don't think he's going to be the number one back. I think probably start off more like 70-30, 60-40. But I do think he's going to be the PPR guy for this team.
And the Raiders aren't a good team, so they could be down a lot and turn to Drake.
Check downs.
But there's always Jalen Richard. So
yeah, they also have some pass catching backs. They still have Theo Riddick too, my boy.
he's
still
a
out
problem.
there, but
They
he's
have a
probably not going to get any
committee
playing time.
back there.
Yeah, he's not going to be playing at all. He didn't play at all last year, but he was also hurt, I think. So, all right.
What else is new?
Next question: if you had to pick one wide receiver to draft on the Raiders, who would it be?
Hunter Renfro
John Brown.
for the
They're all-
upside.
They're all bad, but I'd probably take John Brown as well.
Yeah,
I
guess.
I don't recommend drafting any though.
I'd get into John Brown. I'll get into my
Can we
take on John
count
Brown a little bit.
Darren Waller?
No, you cannot count him.
Clearly not, Matt. Matt, you're taking Willie Snead.
Might as well.
Honestly,
I don't think it
this
really matters.
entire like somewhat one of the wide receivers has to catch passes. I don't think they're going to be the Chiefs where no wide receiver had any receiving touchdowns a few years ago. But I do
That was
think
wild.
you're throwing a dart at essentially who you would rather have on a week in, week out basis.
Fuck it, give me Ruggs. He's the fastest. He's the youngest. He has the most big play potential. John Brown's old.
He's so good.
Willie Snead,
Love John Brown.
old.
John Brown's so good at
Hunter
football.
Renfro, ugly.
Damn. John
No,
Brown
Hunter
will get you.
Renfro, he's kind of a
Henry
stud, bro.
Ruggs. Give me him. Even though I just hated on him, but
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
in general, don't reach on any Raiders wide receiver.
Yeah.
You're probably taking them as your last or like second
Yeah.
to last pick. So
Keep your hand in your pocket.
yeah.
Don't reach for any of them. Keep it down there in the holster.
Holster. What is the ceiling for Derek Carr this season? And does that ceiling make him
as
worth
you
drafting?
would say, the roof.
The roof. Ceiling is the roof.
I want
And
to
it's
say
not
like
that
number
high.
10. If he added some more touchdowns and kept the same yards from last year,
Yeah,
he'd be around 10.
I could agree. And if his receivers get more involved and aren't
and they added
only
all those
being
receivers.
targeted 43 times.
I'm gonna say like QB where he finished last year, like QB 14. I think that's his peak at this point.
That's fair.
27
It-
touchdowns. I don't
Maybe
see him
the
throwing for
addition
more
of the
than
other running back could help him in the passing game too.
I don't see him throwing for more than 30 touchdowns again. I think he did that like his rookie year or second year. Yeah, I think like 14. And I don't know. I think at best I'm drafting him as a backup, like we already mentioned.
Yeah,
Got to agree.
I guess.
There's not a lot
Not
of
sexy.
potential there. Yeah.
Not too much. Like he's like, what are we in year 7 of Derek Carr? Like
Yeah.
we're not expecting like his next year breakout. Like it's Derek Carr.
We
know
kinda-
what he is,
Yeah, we know what we're getting.
especially with John Gruden too. Like it's the same offense essentially. Not going to be too much change. V Darren Waller. All right. Last question here. Should Jalen Richard or Theo Riddick even be rostered in 12-team PPR leagues?
No, unless your running backs like are hurt for the year, and for some reason the other running backs you have are on a bye.
Yeah.
Maybe
unless you went no running back theory when you were drafting and just got
till round
elite
16.
receivers, then I don't see why anyone should even have a reason to roster these running backs.
Yeah. I wouldn't roster any of them unless it's like 16 teams. Avoid them. Stick with the top 2, like we already mentioned. All right, let's get into our bold takes. Favorite targets. Q, who do you got?
Well, I didn't know that this podcast was full of a bunch of Derek Carr fanboys, but I think that John Gruden has had it up to here with the non-success of the Raiders and Derek Carr. So I think halfway through the season, Derek Carr is benched for Marcus Mariota. We saw what Mariota did for the game or two. I don't know if he was hurt. Was Derek Carr hurt when he came in, or was he benched?
I think he was. I don't remember.
I hope he
was a
benched.
little banged up.
Well, either way, Mariota nearly brought them back in that game.
That was wild.
He's very fresh, and he could be the guy. I would take him over Derek Carr, but if we were all together right now, I might get a tomato to my face.
I don't hate that take. I don't hate it. I like Mariota too, but I do think Derek Carr makes it through the season. I don't think he gets benched.
Derek Carr's a good quarterback.
He is.
I don't think it's
He
his
was
fault.
just a
I like Derek
hater.
Carr.
Too much makeup.
I don't hate that take though.
Eyeliner.
Mariota's pretty good sitting in the wings. All right, G-Gots, what do you got?
All right, y'all. You guys are about to call me crazy. Darren Waller will finish as the #1 tight end this year.
God!
I don't
Over Kelsey?
Hold on. He had more receptions than Kelsey last year.
It's not that crazy. Because
Hold
my
on,
hot take
okay,
on the Chiefs.
Okay, so Kelsey last year, 105 receptions. Waller, 107. Okay. Last year, Kelsey, 1,416 compared to about 1,200. So he had like 200 more yards. That's a steep hill right there, and 2 more touchdowns. But their fantasy points in total were only 34 points apart. I feel like if Kelsey comes down a little bit, Waller goes up a little bit. It's right there. It's not that far off. 34 points is not a lot.
I just can't see
Waller will
Kelsey
finish
getting
#1.
dethroned.
What? It's got to happen at some point.
It will happen at some point. It might be this
2021.
year.
And Kelsey's getting up there. I think he's 30 now.
He's on the better half of 30.
Yeah,
I think he's 31.
Oh, 31.
Other time catches up to you, unless
Yeah,
your
look.
name's Tom Brady.
He might fall off like Ertz this year.
Oh,
He's 31. He turns 32 in October.
happy birthday.
But I respect that take, T-God. It's going to happen eventually. Maybe it's this year. All right, Matt. What do you got?
All right, man. It might not be too bold, but I believe both Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake will finish outside of the top 20 for fantasy running backs this year. I mean, on their individual teams last year, neither of them was really that great. I mean, we made case after case for Chase Edmonds to start over Kenyon Drake on the Cardinals. And like you said, after that big week 1, Josh Jacobs kind of just like fell off a cliff. So, and then now you put him on the same team. I just don't really, I don't see it working.
2 negatives. It's more negative.
I don't, maybe 2 negatives make a positive. I could be wrong, but I just don't see any of them like getting the bulk of the work to work their way into the top 20. I think there's too many workhorse running backs and people that are just going to break out of nowhere like there is every year. So I just don't really see either of them getting too much production.
I respect it. I just think there's not enough running backs for one of them to not finish top 20. But if both of them don't finish top 20, that's sad.
But genius.
They're probably both like around 25 at that point. And then it's just like an ugly mix.
The highest out of the both of them that I have is Josh Jacobs, and he's at 19.
I got him at 25 for me. So I got them both outside the top 20 right now.
Yeah, so why you calling me crazy?
You're not crazy.
You're not crazy at all. I agree with that take.
You're crazy.
Just injuries always end up happening.
Yeah, that's true.
My favorite target for the Raiders, someone we already talked about, John Brown, is currently being drafted essentially free at wide receiver 64, 181st overall. For a wide receiver who's been very solid over the past few years. He averaged nearly 11 points per game in PPR when healthy last year. He missed a handful of games for the Bills, but still was getting 11 points per game and nearly 15 points per game in 2019 again with the Bills. So I think he could be a steal as a weekly flex option late in drafts. I think he still could be around that top 40 wide receiver where you can plug and play him when you have your starting flex on a buy or whatnot. So he's definitely my favorite target out of pretty much any Raider aside from like the obvious ones.
He is very intriguing. And I feel like a lot of people forgot about him too.
Yeah.
He's like hurt.
It's just his health.
He was hurt.
You're worried
a
about his
lot
health.
last year.
He's always been up and down with injuries, but if he's able to stay healthy, he'll be worth it. And you're taking him for free, so you're not risking anything at that point.
Easy.